You hear me? The microphone. No, just make sure. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to MCCHQ for a live on basically on cosmetics and household products and what kind of additives go into them. So we've got some new technology. I've got a microphone because a lot of people say that they can't hear me properly, so hopefully that's working. Are we waiting for a few people to join?
Yeah, we've got 4 people joining more now. I've just shared it to the support group.
Okay. How is everyone this evening? All well, I hope.
James says hello, Dad.
Hello, all right. I'm actually just talking to a camera. It's unusual. I can't see myself. Usually when you do this, you can see yourself, can't you? Yeah, so, it's something we thought we'd talk about was a lot of the high street goods and what goes into them, the kind of additives that goes into them. But it's such a massive topic that we thought we'd break it down. And for this one, we thought we'd pick on Parabens, which is an interesting one. So what's Parabens? I'll quickly bore you with the chemistry names. It's called Parabens because it's short for para-hydroxybenzoates. So what that means is this is a benzoate group here with the ester. And this is ortho, meta, and para, so it's para-hydroxy. That's in the 4 position there. So it's para-hydroxy, benzoic acids, and their derivatives. So that's the name. That's just a short name for it. So what are they? What they're used for? They're mainly used as a preservative, and they go into unbelievable amounts of things. Actually, a very good preservative. Well, it's used in soaps, shampoos, conditioners, all kinds of cosmetics, shower products, all that kind of thing. And believe it or not, food and drink. So they actually put this stuff in what you eat and what you drink. A lot of the processed stuff anyway. But it even goes in animal feed. So you buy a steak, chances are the cow's been fed on stuff that's got that in. So they're a very broad-reaching group of chemicals. There are different ones, so I'll get into that in a minute. So basically, they're in all kinds of stuff. I've lost my train of thought now. What was I going to talk about? Well, the names, the ones that's mainly used are what they call esters. So what I thought I'd do is run through quickly how these things are synthesized, and there is a reason for that. So what they usually do is they'll start with either oil that they dig out of the ground, or petrol, which naturally has stuff called benzene in, or they can use other petrol chemicals, which they then oxidize, and this makes benzene. So I don't know if you've heard of benzene. That in itself can be toxic and carcinogenic. It's in petrol, which for some reason they replaced lead acetate with benzene, saying that it was better for you. Who knows? So you get your benzene, then you pass that over a hot catalyst bed. Various oxidizing reactions occur, and then you get this stuff. Phenol. Now, I've worked with phenols a lot in the past. I know how toxic they are. They're very, very toxic. But one of the first things they used in hospitals to sterilize them. Really effective at that. They'll kill anything. So that just shows how toxic they are. Your phenols then are converted. They put the carboxylic acid group on. So again, it's a catalyst, carbon dioxide. Then this goes on that ring, so you get your parabenzoic acid, which is that's the acid bit there. So that in itself can be used as a parabens, but what they tend to use are the esters of that. And an ester is just something that's had an alcohol put on this end bit here. So I'll call that R. So different kinds of R's that are on the end there are the methyl, which is the most commonly used one, ethyl, all the way up to heptyl, which is 7 carbon chain on the end there. I think the reason they do that is for solubility, easy of mixing, all that kind of thing. But again, that does have an effect. So you can see, just to get to that, purely from an environmental point of view, just to get to this before they can put it in that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. That's 5 synthetic steps. So that's 5 factories basically, all pumping waste, using energy, all that kind of thing, just to get to there. So the environmental impact is already there. Okay, so once it's in, what does it do? The main use is to kill fungus and bacteria. So the way they think that works is inside cells, bacterial cells, the same as ours, of mitochondria, if you've heard of those. The best way to think of mitochondria is, probably best drawing it actually. Let's say this is your bacteria. If that's the car, your mitochondria are the engines. So they're what make the energy inside the bacteria. So what this stuff does, it goes in. There's my cloth. So we'll zoom in now. I'll take one of the mitochondria out. So we zoom right in on the mitochondria. So there's a cell wall. And in the cell wall there's small channels opening so it can take in liquid, nutrients, all that kind of thing. And the amount of water in it is regulated by the amount of salt and stuff and sugar inside the cell. So what this does, it disrupts that, and it opens up it's using the calcium channel, which will be as an iron, but doesn't matter. So what it does, it holds the gate open, basically, so all these calcium just go into the mitochondria. And what that does, it brings water with it, so it just keeps pumping in, and eventually your mitochondria just explodes, basically. It's a bit like what can happen to you if you drink too much water to your cells, but that's how they work. They kill the mitochondria, basically. So we have mitochondria in our cells, so it's in all this stuff. What's it doing to our cells? I'll leave that on for now. So it's in the food. Every time we take a shower, it's in cosmetics, it's in tablets, all kinds of things, medicines. So we're basically being bombarded with this stuff. And I've got a nice paper here that I found while I was looking on the internet. I won't read all of it, but I thought this was quite a good one because it's quite a broad scope of what it talks about. So it deals with some of the effects that have been associated with these parabens. Your FDA's, MHRA's, CDC, which is Centre of Disease Control, are all maintaining that this stuff is safe. There are some papers that show It doesn't have, say, irritant effects, things like that. But there's a lot of scientific evidence out there to the contrary. It says that this stuff is far from safe. So what can it do once it gets inside your body? Actually, before I start that, they've got quite a decent list here of what they go into. So in food, it can go into stuff like vegetable fats, oils, sugars, coffee, bottled water, beer, formula milk, yogurt, wheat, flour, bread, cakes, ham, sausages, apples, pears, cabbages. Why it's on fruit and veg, I don't know. Soft drinks, frozen dairy, jams, jellies, pickles, sauces, desserts, processed fish, flavouring syrups. That's a whole other topic there. HFCs. In the cosmetic side, it goes into shampoos, conditioners, shower gels, scrubs, sunscreen, deodorants, moisturisers. Pharmaceuticals is pills, syrups, suppositories, anaesthetics, eye wash, weight gain drinks, injectable solutions, contraceptives. All these things have to have a long shelf life. There is an old saying, I can't remember who came out with it, but it's basically, as a good rule of thumb, anything that has a long shelf life will shorten yours. It's quite a good rule of thumb to remember that. I suppose it's not always the case, but in the majority I'd say it is. More cosmetics, face, body and hand creams, eye makeup, other kinds of makeup, night cream, lotions, mud packs, skin lighteners, sachets. Food, fruit juices, wine, whiskey, vanilla extracts, icings, toppings, pastries, fillings, believe it or not, olives. Other beverages, dairy products, fats and fish oil, shellfish, grains, meat, fruit, vegetables, cereals, eggs, bean products, cookies, snacks, condiments. Back to the cosmetics again, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, cleansers, shaving gel, lotions, hair, hand, perfumes, skin toners, deodorants we've said, haven't we? Lipstick, nail varnish, baby cream, baby powder, baby lotion and oil, baby sunscreen, cigarettes, varnishes and glue and animal feed. I mentioned that before. So that's that list there. I've not made that up.
Everybody's really surprised that it's in food and fruit and veg.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'll start on the effects. I could probably go on all night, but I'll read a few examples from this paper. Parabens and other xenobiotic chemicals interfere with the hypothalamal pituitary gonadal axis. So that's your hormonal system, your brain, your reproductive bits, all that pituitary's growth. And behave similar to female hormones, so it's this estrogenic effect again. They block and stabilise the normal hormonal action, negatively affecting the reproductive function of males. Endocrine disruptors can interfere with endogenous hormone action, synthesis, metabolism and transport. So that's the four things that every single spot where a hormone is produced in your body, this thing interferes with it. When it's being made, when it's being moved, when it's being used, and when it's removed, it interferes with all of that. These compounds can also change in the normal functioning of the central nervous system, the immune system, lipid homeostasis, that's your fat levels, and what's the other one? Cholesterol, glucose levels, diabetes, thyroid function, and act as an epigenetic modulator causing transgenerational effect. Now, not 100%, but I interpret that as something, if you get affected by this, you're going to pass it on in your DNA to your kids. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So that's that one. The most common metabolite of parabens is para-hydroxybenzoic acid, which is this one. So what can happen inside your body, we're full of these enzymes that can break ester linkages. This is called an ester link. So it'll come in and it'll cleave that and send that back to that and release these whatever was on the end here. So that's quite a common process in the body. So that can easily form when you have these in your body. It's concluded this compound can show estrogenic activity in human cells, more specifically in human breast cancer cells, and its estrogenic behaviour has already been reported using animal models. This compound is responsible for displacing estradiol from the estrogen receptor of there's a code for the cell, increasing expression of a stably transfected estrogen responsive reporter gene. I'm not 100% on this, but I think that's the messenger RNA that tells your cell to make estrogen. The cells in the not hormones, what's the name? Not adrenal glands, what are they called? Right, it's gone. What makes your hormones like your adrenal glands? Glands. Right, where was I? Yeah, this increases the growth of estrogen-dependent human breast cancer cells. This is relevant given the estrogen response of this breast tumour cell, the presence of parabens in human breast tissue, and the involvement of estrogen in the development of breast cancer. So basically, the more estrogen you've got around a cancer cell, the more likely it is to grow. And I've kind of done a little diagram of what seems to be causing that. It's if this is your enzyme, your enzymes are like a lock and a key. So you have a lock, your enzyme, and then this key will come in and activate the lock. And then that releases these messenger RNA things. But what these do is they come in, and instead of the normal lock, which is what your body produces to tell this enzyme to switch on and off, this comes in and it activates the site. So it activates the lock, but it doesn't come away. It doesn't come away like the normal body should when there's the work on what you call a feedback loop. So it sticks in there. So your cell just goes ka-chunk, 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 making estrogen more and more and more. And that's what happens. These levels build up. It's kind of an exponential thing. So not only are you getting the effect from the environment, once it's then telling your body to make more. So the more estrogen around your cancer cell, pretty much the worse it is, basically. Another study showed that people diagnosed with breast cancer at an early age used more antiperspirant products, and other study relative to the use of these products didn't show much of an increase in cancer, but it did show an increase in the estrogen levels. A study by Kana et al. Demonstrates in vitro that parabens can induce a transformed phenotype in human breast epithelial cells, which basically means that the cell mutates, which is an approved model of carcinogenesis. So there's the proof that they know that this is an approved model of how they measure what a carcinogen is. There it is, they've got the evidence. Another study also proved that parabens cause an increase in estradiol secreting and aromatase activity, stimulating the proliferation of human breast cancer cells. I'm sorry to go on about this, but I think it's quite important. It's just to show that, it's not just us saying this. It's also been shown in a study in Japan that it interferes with the female menstrual cycle. No surprise there, really, given its effect. And they've linked that to you can detect the parabens in the urine at an increased level. Another study shown a correlation between parabens, environmental persistence, and the cause of human infertility. Another study showed that parabens remained unmetabolized in stratum of the forearm tissue by the proliferation and differentiation of environmental stresses after 1 month of applications. So basically what that means is that the parabens exhibit persistence, so they'll build up. Your body struggles to get rid of them. They'll keep building up in your system. As they do in the environment, same thing, they build up. It also shown that parabens influenced epidermal differentiation of the skin and decreased the proliferation of keratinocytes and changed cell morphology. Again, there's that kind of mutagen effect. I'll make this the last one. I think this is very important. Parabens also show the property of being transferred from a mother to a child through transplacental passage. In this study, the authors tested 50 mother-child pairs, and parabens was detected in 47 of the 50 mothers, and also in 47 of the 50 cord blood samples. Both samples in the presence of parabens in 45 mother-child pairs, and the values were higher for the children than the mothers in 23 of those cases. Again, this seems to be linked to whatever group is on the end. As a general rule of thumb, the longer this side chain gets, like this, the more estrogenic effect it has. And I've wondered why that is. This is just purely me. I think it's down to solubility. That I think this can cross the cell wall a lot easier than this would. That's perhaps why that is more effective. But I can put a copy of this somewhere, a link to it. It's out there on the net. That.
We'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that if anyone wants to read it. So every time we use something like this, then every time we shower with something like that, we're passing the problem on again. It goes down the drain. It's into the water table. Sometimes you'll drink it again. Certain parts of the country, it goes through your body 5 times. Or 5 people's bodies, I should say, the water. So again, it's building up in the environment. So this is the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight. We've got to stop using them. It's clearly shown that these things are causing damage to the environment and to human health. No, it's something's causing all these problems we're getting, and that this seems like a big warning light to me. Yeah. So I mean, again, the reason I bring this up is because I think sometimes people think, oh, we're doing natural stuff just because it's nice. We actually do it for a reason, and this is one of them. It's for the environment and for people's health. No, none of our shampoos, creams, conditioners, shower gels, anything has got this stuff in.
Nothing that comes out of them.
No, nothing. We make sure we don't put anything like that in our products. And like I say, it's not just for being nice. It's for a very serious reason that we don't use this stuff. And we don't use a lot of these mixtures that are available. We make our own stuff. That's one of the main reasons why we did start this. So, yeah, that's your...
There are a lot of companies out there that proclaim to make natural products.
Yeah, a lot of companies do use natural ingredients, but they don't just use natural ingredients. They'll buy in, or, in bulk, some of these bases that you can get, soaps, things like that, and they'll put a few essential oils in and all that kind of stuff, but essentially it's the same. The list goes on. I mean, parabens is just one thing, so this is why we're going to do a few of these talks. Or hopefully if people are interested, they'll see what's actually going in to their everyday stuff that they're using.
Sharon says, are there different names they use for parabens in products? They're usually just listed as parabens, aren't they?
I think they just use parabens, yeah. There are alternatives. Yeah, they use like the quaternary amides, as preservative. Our friend phenoxyethanol is another one. There's a few acids as well they can use, benzoic acid or even citric, something like that, but they're not as effective usually. These are quite good at killing things. Like I say, like you said, derivative of phenol, that's super effective at killing stuff. I used to work for a company that made phosphates using phenols. They went into flame retardants, all that kind of stuff, among others. And sometimes they'd have a leak on the site. I won't mention the company. But basically this stuff would then go down the drain.
Although they were in the news quite recently.
Yeah. And it go down the drain, down into the, I almost said the S factory then, down to the sewage treatment plant. And it'll kill all the bugs. So then they get a bill from United Utilities saying, can you replace all our bugs, please, because you've killed them. That's how good it is. So it's basically it's a similar structure in those. Yeah, not nice. So they have been shown to build up in the environment. So before you even start using it, you've got all this to go through. Every time there's a process, there's energy use, waste. And, we've got to stop using them, basically. We're saving up trouble for ourselves, I think.
Teresa makes a very good point. She says if it's in meat, would it be in milk too?
It is in milk, I think. Is it on that list? I suppose it depends. If it's a long life milk, they probably put it in. Bear in mind, this could be... I'm not sure where this was published, so it could be a different country with different rules, but where are we? It says frozen dairy products here, so perhaps not milk.
They would have to list it as an ingredient, wouldn't they?
Yeah. That's if they were putting it in. Chances are it makes its way into the milk from the cattle feed. Well, this paper wasn't so much about the parabens itself. This was about testing for it in the environment. So what they've done, they've come up with a method of finding this stuff. They've got a good test for it and they can find it. So they're looking in water, in the food and all that, in urine. That's why I thought I'd use that one. I don't know. Yeah, so we do make, so unashamed plug, we do make shampoos, shower gels, things like that. All parabens free, totally free, that stuff. All naturally produced.
If you do use any products that are non-MCC, it'd be a very interesting exercise to have a look at them after this live.
Yeah.
Yeah, spot.
Yeah, that'd be good if people could have a look in their showers and the bathrooms and see if there's anything that's got this stuff in. I think you'd be surprised. But it should be labelled if it's in anything. It's one thing we're not too bad at in this country, the labelling. It's not bad. I don't know, is there any questions there, babe?
I think everybody's a little bit mind blown at the moment. Has anyone got any questions for Mark? I'm looking at comments so I can read them out for you.
It's quite shocking. It shocked me, especially the bit about it being passed on through the placenta. So you pass on any genetic effect could be passed on. It's been linked to low sperm count, and not only the sperm count, you get a lot of these malformed slow sperm now as well. So even though they're not working very well. It's been linked to all that. So it's all in that paper.
Lisa says, what is safe to eat?
Organic. It's about as safe as it. It's not. I don't think anything's 100% these days. All you can do is try and minimise it. That's what we're trying to do. We're doing our bit. You know, all this stuff, we've cut it out of all that, what we make anyway. Yeah, it's amazing what goes into things.
Sharon says, is there any way of destroying the parabens, e.g. through cooking at high temperatures, etc.?
Unlikely. Fermentation might. It's quite possible that in fermentation an enzyme would cleave that, but you'd probably still end up with that. That could be metabolized. Bacteria do metabolize it to a certain extent. Basically, they'll cop for it. So, but just heating it itself, I would say not. I guess. There are techniques to remove it from sewage. That's been pretty, you can do that with what they call oxidative methods. It's basically, it's kind of like, you know, your self-cleaning oven. These have, I think it's molybdenum oxide coating, and all the muck sticks to that, and that breaks it down with the heat. It breaks it all down to carbon dioxide, probably water. So it's a similar process. They can do that in sewage farms, but they don't at the moment. As far as we know, they don't. So
Sharon says, we all wonder why we have so many health issues. I think we have a good idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you just want to quickly mention about what you have a suspicion about estrogen and fibromyalgia?
Well, yeah, I think I've said that before, haven't I? I do think one of the big causes of fibromyalgia is environmental. And I think the estrogenic effects of a lot of what's in our environment are to blame. They have started looking at it as well. Some scientists started looking at it. So if they started looking at it, they suspect it. They wouldn't spend the money otherwise.
Yeah.
So, this is just one. The number of estrogenics in our environment is ridiculous. One of the worst is glyphosate, Roundup. I won't touch that stuff, but it's sprayed all over the crops. Rapeseed, anything GM, it'll have Roundup on it. I know that United Utilities, this is a bit of insider information, I won't say how I got it. I know that United Utilities have a test for glyphosate, which trade name is Roundup, but they don't publish it. They don't publish the figure, even though they've got a test for it. And they do test for it.
Justine says, is there anything being done to stop them using them in the future?
Vote with your pocket, probably the best way. Or lobby Parliament, lobby the EU, get them removed.
But at the moment, NHRA who likes the piece.
Well, yeah. As far as they're concerned, they're safe. That's what they keep telling people. So it's unlikely they'll do anything about it.
Sylvia's asked a really good question. She says, how long would it take for the body to spell it if you change what you're using? Will it?
It's hard to say. I mean, the evidence on there shows that it persists. So it's a cumulative effect. I don't know is the answer. No, I've stopped using these years ago. I don't even know if I've got any left in my system. Couldn't tell you. I'll try and look into that actually. Never thought of that, yeah. I'll have a look if I can. I suspect that it would, because it is an ester and it can break down to this. I imagine that would eventually be flushed out. But I don't know how long it'd take. These are easily removed, the alcohols, once they're floating around in your system. Your body can deal with those easily. It's this one.
Nasty stuff. But the less you expose yourself to them, you can't remove exposure to them completely.
This is what I'm saying, that it's best if you can do what you can to minimise it. So try and avoid foods with preservative, unless it's a natural one, say like citric acid. And switch your shampoos and conditioners. Yeah, and watch your food and drinks. Like I say, remember that rule of thumb. It's an easy one. What lengthens the shelf life will shorten yours. So just bear that in mind when you go shopping. That's probably the best piece of advice I can give.
Lisa says, is there any kind of home test so you could dipstick your own urine to see how high it is?
Not that I know of.
No.
I think it. I mean, this is. These guys are talking about a test on here, so I think they've got state-of-the-art stuff checking for this. I imagine it'd be something like an HPLC method they'd use, which is chromatography. Don't know about an normal test. I bet you could probably come up with one. Just trying to think. I mean, you could probably get an enzyme test to test for that, but I don't know about
that. Lisa says, obviously, they don't want us to know.
Well, I mean, they tell us, but it's hiding in plain sight, I suppose, yeah. It's on the label. Everyone looks at it and goes, oh, I don't know what that is. It's been tested, it should be all right. I'd say the main agencies that are supposed to keep an eye on this sort of thing are saying it's safe. So there is conflicting evidence. You know, I won't say it's all one-sided, but I mean, looking at these studies, it kind of makes sense. Like I say, something is making us ill.
Teresa says, would this be in tap water?
I'd say so, yeah. Chances are, because it persists in the environment. I'd say it'll go through the treatment plant. It's not removed there. Although methods do exist to treat it, they're not using them. So if you get drinking water that's in any way recycled, if it hasn't dropped out of the sky, then chances are it's in there, yeah.
Would filtering it, would using a filter remove it, or?
Doubt it. Charcoal might.
Justin says, silly how they can say that's safe, but you're not allowed to use the word pain. NHRA backwards. Yeah. Debbie says,
well, I know that certainly the FDA is made up of the ex-corporate heads of big pharmaceutical companies.
Debbie Killen says, thanks so much. I'll have to rewatch and share this with everyone. Sharon says, thank you for this, Mark. I honestly did not know it was an our food too.
Well, I mean, I always say, don't take my word for it. Have a look for yourselves. That we'll be posting a link to that. That's nothing to do with me. It's just something I found on the internet. So yeah, look into it.
Lisa says, I guess it also speeds up aging too.
Wouldn't surprise me. There's like everything. I always use this example that everything's in a balance in nature, and in our bodies, one of the balances is male and female. I'll probably get shot by some people for saying that, but we have a male hormone and a female one predominantly. But what they also do is one is growth, the other is death, for want of a better word. So estrogen is the growth. It will make cells grow and divide. Your testosterone-like ones are the opposite. They tell cells when to die. And that is just as important as it is telling them to grow. If you switch that off and these cells keep growing, well, what do you call that? It's a cancer. So it's this balance has been in the last sort of 30, 40 years. We're swamped with estrogenics.
Sylvia says, so we can't completely avoid it.
Probably not. You can try and minimise it. That's what we do.
Kristen says you'd make a great science teacher, Mark, and be spreading very useful information and educating people.
I just wanted to show that, like, I know I sound like a broken record, but that we don't just do natural things because we want to or it's nice. It's because there's a very good reason for it. And this is one of them. Natural is the way. It's the way forward. It's the only way if we want to survive, I think.
I think a lot of people think it's kind of like we're kind of like hippy dipping peeps, and that is, we want to run around barefoot with flowers in our hair type of thing. Which, yeah, we'd love to do that in our spare time.
Spare time?
Whatever that is. But it's not. It's the scientific side behind it, which is where we differ so much to other companies, because it is nature, but it's blended with science.
Yeah, the science is just, it's basically, is it the Greek word for knowledge? So you arm yourself with knowledge. We're learning how these natural systems work and why they're good. There's plenty of things in nature that are bad for you, of course there are, but we've evolved in this environment. We're not separate from it. We're in it. Our skin is permeable. That's what we've evolved in. We need these things. You start introducing foreign stuff that your body isn't sure of, you're asking for trouble. These things do occur naturally in tiny amounts, not like this. They're everywhere. Well, all along the way they're not nice. It's not nice, really not nice. Kind of not nice. But the methyl one seems to be the one they're targeting. That seems to have the most kind of carcinogenic effect for some reason.
Christine says our future generations would be so informed with knowledge like this and hopefully live longer and better lives.
Well, that's the idea. We've got to start somewhere, haven't we? I agree.
Our mini motor mouths are just amazing. We've got so many now that would rather reach for one of our products than for anything pharmaceutical.
Yeah, so it's not just a case of being natural for the sake of it. It is a very serious reason why we choose to go natural, and everything is. You kind of know where you stand with the natural stuff. I don't see why take the risk. Well, on that note, if there's any more questions,
Has anybody got any more questions before we disappear?
shall wrap up.
Lisa says, I'm guessing this also plays a part in your metabolism too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's on there, yeah. It's called the endocrine system. So you've got your pituitary gland and all that, which regulates your growth, your thyroid, your reproductive system, your immune system, your sugar regulation, your fat regulation. All these kind of things are all balanced by that, and this has been shown to disrupt that in not very nice ways. And you can also pass on the effects to your kids, according to that. I will look deeper into that and about flushing it out of you if you can. I've seen a few methods for getting rid of metals and things out of your system, but not that. I'll see if there is. Obviously, if you come out with anything, it's it's up to you if you try stuff. But okay then. Well, I hope that was helpful to some people. It's quite a shocking thing when you first see it, but I do, the info is out there. If you dig, go and have a look. I recommend everyone looks for themselves.
Have you decided what you're talking about on the next series next week?
I don't know.
Next episode?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So next time we'll probably do a look at some SLS type stuff. See what they used in it, similar kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, join us then. Okay then, on that note, thank you for joining. Hope this was useful. Hope to see you again. Cheers guys, take care, see you soon. No, I can't see you waving though.